Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I am joined, as always, by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett.
Hey,
How you
yeah.
doing, Maddie? And we have a very special guest tonight. As you can see, Mary is here with us tonight. If you're watching, you can see it. If you're listening, you'll be able to hear. Hi, Mary. How are you? Tell us how your week was.
My week has been pretty good. It's been busy. Yeah.
Excellent. All
Good.
right. And Don, you're starting to ask me how I'm doing just real fast. School is underway for kids and for college students here in Cincinnati. So everything's happening and kind of like busting right back into the year. My older kid, I think I mentioned this before, started at a new school this year. She's going to basically Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youths. And so working on developing her mutant powers. But they're really, really enjoying it so far. And that's one of the things that, as a parent, that's really hard is like fretting about like, am I doing the right thing for my kids? Am I doing everything I can to like, raise them right? And the fact that they came back after the first full week of classes, came home and said, I really like it there. Like, I'm really glad that you moved me to this new school. I was like, oh,
right.
Thank goodness. So really happy about that. But yeah, it's just like kind of right into the hustle and bustle of school going on. So, but that's exciting. I love the fall. It's my favorite season. So I'm really happy to be like right into it, even though it's like 100 degrees here this week still.
Oh man.
So the school season part of fall, but yeah. Don, how are you doing? What's happening?
Well, congratulations on parenting wins. Wherever you can find them. That's fantastic. And I don't doubt you're a great dad.
I try.
So let's see. How am I? I don't know. My week's been kind of a blur. It's been busy. I think last week I mentioned that I was excited because we might have a hurricane/tropical storm head our way. It was a very big disappointment. But it was still fun. We got rain. We got some rain. We got some rain and we got some wind. But no thunder, no lightning. But, it's good because we didn't have, injured people or anything like that.
Yeah. That's good.
What a disappointment. Nobody got killed.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you, Don. I was worried because I knew that it was like coming in some parts of the coast. And I was like, man, I hope Don's okay. But then I was kind of watching to see like where things were happening. I was like, oh no, Don's fine. Like, there's nothing happening out there. So.
No, the thing was headed right towards San Diego, right. And then it kind of took but the thing is, and Mary might know more about this than I do, but I know this because I have family on the East Coast too. But the eye is kind of where you're sort of protected. It's the outer bands that can cause most of the destruction. Yep. But it was the weirdest thing because they're like, well, this storm is front loaded, and you could see from the shape on the radar that so once it goes through, it'll kind of be done. And that was not the case because we had, and that's why I was like, oh, this is a big nothing. It's just going to drizzle all day. And then, but we did get some actual rain for a little bit and some wind. But it was after it went through. So it was the bottom of the outer band. But so they lied, they lied. But it's okay. We had beautiful sunsets and I didn't really I saw some pretty clouds before the storm, like the day before in the sky. But then when the storm was here, it was just gray. It was just gray. But then by Monday, everything was sunny again. And there were a few leaves up on the ground. Yeah. Yeah. So that was my big excitement, a big disappointment. Like, whatever. The 100-year storm is over, whatever.
Until Florida gets it. Florida's supposed to get it on Monday.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah. Another hurricane?
Yeah. Tropical storm.
Stuff actually happens there, too.
Hey.
Yeah, well, that's more normal there. Yeah, for us, it doesn't rain in the summer here, and we usually get about 7 inches per year. 7 inches per year. So we got basically I think we got maybe an inch and a half. They were saying for our area, like my little microclimate here, it was the whole year's worth of rain for us in that one day. That's why it's so funny. Because like, oh, I love rain. It'll be so fun. But the little rain that there was, I was out there dancing and splashing and, you know, all that kind of stuff. We had a little party, a little happy hour out there. And yeah, it was fun. It was tactic, but we made fun with it. Yeah. So I can't wait to start chatting with you all and getting to know Mary a little bit better. And I do want to mention for those listening and watching, again, welcome. And Mary, you know, one of the things that when we sign off, Matt always says, hey, if you'd like to be a guest on our show, we'd love to hear from you. Our DMs are always open. And Mary took advantage of that, and you can too. So I just want you to know it's not that hard. Was it hard, Mary?
It was not. I had to think on top of my mind, actually. So funny enough is when I DM'd you guys, I was actually celebrating my graduation party from college.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
So that was fun. And then I knew I kind of wanted to do it. Like, to speak the truth about the Packers and, like, true crime and, like, Twitter, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who love Packers and true crime. There's a great intersection here, obviously, with Dawn, what she brings to it. So, yep. You're in the right place, Mary, that's for sure.
Yay!
You found your home. You found your home. I love it. I love it. Okay, well, what we like to do when we have a guest, we like to start out with our guest's Twitter. And Mary, you have a bunch of, okay, so your Twitter reads Mary, and then there's a bunch of emojis that I'm going to let you talk about.
Okay.
At Mary20S23. And it says, I'm a huge Packers fan. Green heart, yellow heart, green heart, yellow heart, studying to become an OTA in school. And it says Austin, Texas. So we're going to get to some of these things. But first of all, the most important question is, what is an OTA? And I was going to ask you how school's going, but I guess school went great. Congratulations for graduating. So tell us what's an OTA.
Yeah. So actually that program that didn't work out either. It was way too hard. OTA stands for Occupational Therapy Assistant. So I actually transferred. Well, yeah, it was way too hard for me. So I actually got my medical assisting degree, and I doubled up and got my administrative billing and coding.
Oh, nice. Well. Yeah. So no lack of jobs in those fields for sure. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. Man. Yeah.
So you're going to be in the healthcare industry. Well, kudos to you for that. Awesome. That's awesome because they need really good people. Mm-hmm. So I want to hear about, tell us all about these emojis. We have a puppy.
Yeah.
It looks like an armadillo. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on here. Okay. So tell us everything.
Yeah. So the dog, my friend Charles, I told him to watch the podcast. I don't know if you will. Him and I actually send dog gifts every day to each other. So it just reminds me of how much I miss my dogs.
Mm.
And then the hedgehog is Gannon's dog. He loves Sonic, so I'm just Gannon's army. He was murdered by his stepmom. I'm not going to say her name.
Yes,
she is used for it.
We know who she is. Yeah, pastel blue was his favorite color. Sonic. So I just supported him from that. Gannon's army, and then the Gannon.
Yep. And then the cheese is because I'm originally from Wisconsin. And I just became a Packers fan from that. And then the judge is because I like true crime.
Nice. And is that a lion in there?
No, it's a sloth. So I actually went to Costa Rica. So I just fell in love with sloths from that.
Sloth, they're surprisingly cute and adorable. It's they should be because they're big, hairy, slow-moving weirdos. But some of them are really cute. I don't know. I like sloths.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they are. Okay. So you don't live in Austin, Texas.
No.
It's a trick. So you live in Florida, but by way of Wisconsin. Where were you born? In Wisconsin?
I was born in a small city called Rochells, Wisconsin. It's by Stevens Point.
Okay.
Plover, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I was very close to that. My mom grew up in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like Stevens Point. My sister did her her degree there in music theater, actually. So I've been around Stevens Point a lot, like for her performances and stuff. And
Nice.
it's a lovely part of the state.
It is. It is. It's a great campus. It's pretty.
Mhm.
I have friends there, so I visited. I grew up in Wisconsin too, not there anymore. So okay, so now you're in Florida, so you're familiar with hurricanes more so than I am.
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
My mom and I actually moved October of last year, so I was here for Ian, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, you identify by which storm you arrived. Wow.
I mean, it's the one that's most known in my area, anyways.
Sure.
So this next one. So
Sure. That's cute. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, what is your best, do you have a best hurricane story or tip or both?
not really.
Okay.
My best preparedness story is get everything that you need. It doesn't matter. Get everything that you think you need. You can never have enough supplies. So actually my mom's in Greece. So she's going to be gone for this one. So she makes actually frozen meals in case power goes out, and we freeze water bottles to keep like food
Okay.
cold.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Better to over prepare for sure.
Yes, we definitely
Yeah.
do.
Over prepare. Right.
And
I
actually,
did. I
so
took
I
all
live,
my. Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. So I actually live by the airport, so I won't lose power. Some water,
Ah,
electricity. I didn't lose any during Ian, so
cool. So you don't have a backup generator?
we have two of them, just in case.
Okay. Okay.
Well, as Lisa McGowan Ordway says in the comments here, the electric being out is the worst part. I don't doubt that. That's hard to do anything without electricity.
It is.
Welcome, Lisa, by the way.
And we did. This is the weirdest thing that happened with our storm. Just, not to bring it back to me, but whatever. It wasn't even. I don't even think it was sprinkling yet. It might have been sprinkling a little bit, but it was still like sunny and calm, and nothing was moving. And we lost the power 3 times. Right. And then when it got windy and stuff, we never lost the power. So it's like, what is going on here? I think they were messing with us. The first time I thought, well, maybe they're just like testing everybody. This must be serious. But yeah, I did bring my potted plants into the inside hallway out in the back. I've got plants everywhere, but I brought them all there just in case, because I didn't want a plant to jump up and go through somebody's window or something.
Keep the projectiles at a minimum for sure. Yeah, Iowa Joe says Dawn better hope she keeps plenty of cat food. If a hurricane hits, those cats be eyeing her up.
Yeah.
It's true, exactly.
I got another rescue cat. There was a cat that I had seen for a couple of days, and then Monday morning, I went out to bring some of my plants back out onto the balcony, and I was hearing this meowing, and I looked down on the second floor roof, and there's this cat meowing at me, and she had been hanging out, and I was like, meow, meow. And then I realized, oh, she's stuck up there. She's stuck on the second floor. So I went down and got her, because you could just open the windows. She probably was used to coming in and out. Anyway, long story short, I had to post her picture. Does anyone know this cat? And it was someone's cat, but she likes my food better than what she's getting at home. So she breaks out of her home and comes and eats my cat, my community cat food. It's like, dude, I'm making this cat chicken and stuff. So of course she likes it better. What are you feeding her? So I have another cat now. But yeah, the electricity is a bummer. And I wasn't looking forward to being swept away. I was just looking forward to maybe hearing some lightning, thunder, and seeing some lightning. And
well, yeah, it's like a snow day. Obviously, you don't have snow days on, but either of you do, I suppose, where you're at. But it's like if it's just like a little sprinkling, you're like, man, that's not fun. I wanted like snowbanks and like sledding, and it's just like a little dusty. It is disappointing. So I understand what you're saying. Like you don't want to have a massive blizzard where people are like driving into the ditch, but
No.
a little something fun. I get that. I do get that.
Yeah, something different, something to
Different.
tell my grandcats about when they can tell their
until
children.
you have to learn how to drive in it. That's the worst. People
That
don't
is
know
the
how to
worst.
drive after hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, California.
know
Very much, even a sprinkle. People here are just, the accidents. Accidents.
Be bad.
Oh my gosh. No, it's not good. I will say though, San Diego is vast, and so the mountains and the deserts got hit. There were rock slides and really dangerous situations out there, mudslides. So, but yeah, here on the coast, it was a big nothing. So okay, so tell us more about your Packer fandom. So obviously you came from Wisconsin, but tell us who influenced you.
So my mom is actually a Packer fan as well. Most of my family is pretty much, besides one cousin that's a Bears fan. And then I have like cousins that's Patriots and Seahawks fans as well. So this weekend's gonna be rough with them, obviously. But yeah, I grew up in Wisconsin, and my mom's dad is a Packer fan too. Sadly, he passed away October of last year. So it's like tough, but we battled through it.
Yeah.
So, like, living farther away from your family like that and being a Packers fan is something that, of course, Dawn and I both relate to, since we both grew up in Wisconsin but don't live there now.
Right.
So, like, when you're watching a game now, Mary, how are you? Like, is there a way in which you like connect to your family during those times? Like, for instance, I text with my dad throughout the games. Like, do you have anything like that?
Yeah. So actually, I live with my mom because rent is too high right now. So
Gotcha.
her and I watch the games together, and like I was telling Dawn earlier, my local Packer bar was destroyed by Hurricane Ian. So it's like I actually like watch it through Hulu, or like, and I actually rely on Tom Grossi to stream some of the games as well if Hulu doesn't have them. That's how I watch it too.
Yeah, because you're like a really big Tom Grossi fan, right?
I am. I actually met him in 30 and 30 at Tampa.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome. That is
yes,
cool.
I used your picture with Tom for our thumbnail. Yes. That was so fantastic.
But, yeah.
I got to meet him in
remember
Cincinnati, but I was just gonna say I got to meet him when he was in Cincinnati, but it was at like the meeting that was later at night, so that didn't really make the cut, unfortunately, because Johnny was back at the hotel editing. So I'm not in it anywhere, but I did get to meet him. It was awesome. Such a good dude. So I mean, I'm actually really curious to hear more about that, Mary. Like, so obviously, like the Grossi posse is a very amazing force. So how did you come to get involved with that community?
So actually, oddly enough, I was wanting a Vikings game, and I just searched up Packers versus Vikings. I think it was Week 2 of 2019, and Tom was the first one to show up. So after that, I liked his content for a while. I watched him for all the drafts, and I just fell in love with his how he does the work, pretty much. And then when he announced at the draft, because I was actually in a class when this year's draft happened. So I didn't know the surprise until one of my friends told me or tweeted it to me. And then that's when him and I were like, we should go to Tampa. Because Tampa's like a half hour away from me. So it's not that bad. And then we were actually some of the ones that was lucky to sing happy birthday to Johnny Barks.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. Cute. There's actually go ahead.
Oh, so through that community, have you made some friends and stuff like that? Made some connections?
Yeah. So I'm actually part of his membership community. So we have an awesome Discord. I actually posted this live stream in the Discord. So we'll see if any of the Grossi posse comes out. But yeah, I've made a lot of I want to say I made some friends, but I don't know.
I bet you have
fans everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Mary. I mean, I think that's one of the beautiful things about online communities of any sort. People are showing interest. So I'm sure that many people would count you as their friend through that. Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm sure of it. Yeah. Very cool. Well, on that topic, so what is one thing you love the most about the Packers and NFL online community? And what would you change if you had the power to change something?
Yeah. So actually, I'm not sure if we're going to get into this. I can explain it now. So I took over Lauren's Positive Thankful Fridays recently.
Oh, nice.
So I started doing it myself. But the thing is, I'm either doing it on Sundays or Mondays. Depends on the Sunday football game. if it's a good one. Like like this Sunday, I won't be doing it because it's Packers versus Bears. Or next Sunday I won't be doing it, so I'll be doing it Monday. So I've been doing that, which is fun, and I've actually been trying to get a member from all of the teams, NFL teams, all 32, and it's kind of hard.
Oh, I bet.
And so far, the only one that's like connected to me is the Buccaneers and Seahawks fans.
It's a start. Good start.
And Bears, but yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's a start. That's how you have to look at it. I love it.
Yeah,
And
I didn't realize you were taking that up. I'm sorry, Don, I keep talking over you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, Iowa Joe supports what you're saying there. He's saying Packer supports are more than fans; they are family.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Like Iowa Joe, you're my brother, man. You're my brother. My
Love
brother.
it, brother. And Maddie, you were going to say?
I was going to say that you're cool. Both of you are cool. I don't remember what I was going to say.
You're cool too.
Yeah, I think you were talking about the Fridays thing.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I love that you picked that up because I know that like Lauren wasn't able to keep that going.
Yeah.
Like, obviously just it takes a lot of effort when you start to like put that out there. So I didn't know you picked that up. That's awesome. It's one of my favorite things. Cool. That I see around Twitter when that pops up. So I've participated in that many times. I've even sent Dawn's name a few times to Lauren to post in that. So I'll be watching for those. That's very cool.
People actually send me lists in advance. I've had like 20 this week, I think. I recently did it, and one person sent me 20 at a time. I take lists in advance because you never know that people might be busy. So it's just helpful. So
that's so nice. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Twitter, I've been having issues with Twitter for a couple of months. I don't know what happened, but it's like I'll post something and it'll just sit there in limbo but it'll sit there for like a week. It'll would you like to retry or would you like to delete it? And I'm like, well, I'll retry it already. So and so loose, and I told Matt, I said, I can tweet again. And of course, then it started doing that again. And then something let loose. I think it was today. And there was stuff in there from like 2022.
Oh, wow.
It's posting. And I'm like, and people are replying to it. I'm like, what? I don't even know what this is about or anything. And I looked at the thread and it's like, that's 2022. Twitter's been messing with me since 2022. It seems like I can do it from the laptop, but not from the phone. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I find it the opposite. The X for me is what changed it because after the DM limit now, it's harder for me and Lauren to do our Twitter activity.
Oh, right.
We've fallen through that so many times. Like that's why when I did it recently, I put in if I like emote back to it, like that means I've done it because we get a limit, which is stupid, but whatever.
It is frustrating for sure.
It's crazy, but I was embarrassed because it's like, I posted that in 2022 and it just came up today. I mean, how am I going to explain? People are going to be like, what is she doing? I mean, whatever. Nobody knows what I'm doing anyway. Hello, Clayton. I'm assuming this is Clayton. I'm not sure. Packers Total Access. Hello,
Clayton,
hello.
Thanks for being here, friend. Glad to see you in the
being
chat.
Here. Yeah, I got a lively chat tonight. Awesome. All right. And so did I catch what would you change if you had the power to change?
I would say the limit.
The what?
DM limit. The DM limit.
Oh, that
right
okay,
now.
Yeah.
That's what I would change definitely to like make it back to unlimited, which is, they should do it anyways. And I think the X is so annoying because the X looks like so many other apps right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I like get lost like with whatever I want to use.
Yeah, Iowa Joe is suggesting Blue Sky. I've heard that. I went on Threads just because I've already got an Instagram account. So
right.
Yeah. Iowa Joe says Packers Total Access spent too much time polishing your. I don't know what this means.
I think he's talking about why Clayton was like, because Clayton said better late than never when he arrived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in the middle of a Western movie all of a sudden. I just got lost. Where am
So yeah,
I?
so Mary, you took that question in an interesting direction because you're talking about like the mechanism itself, that like the things you don't like about it. But if you're talking about like the people in the community, or like how like the online Packers Twitter or anything, any kind of online communities function, like what would you change about it if you could?
I would say, I don't want to say this, but have the block option back. I know they recently took care of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I know some of my friends and I have had a lot of trolls in our DMs recently.
Sure.
So I want to get rid of them as much as possible.
Yeah, taking away the
Yeah.
block was I don't understand that at
Yeah.
all. I mean,
Right.
of all the people to like put themselves into a position of being
Yeah.
able to make decisions about how this whole community runs,
Yeah.
why that guy?
So recently I figured out a way around it. So
Yeah?
if you report them, you can actually block them from that. So that's what I did. That's how I
Really?
did block 2 people today or yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, your own like serenity and mental health is an important thing, and like
Yeah.
having the ability
It is.
to have a way to do that, I think is super important. So I'm glad you figured a way to do that, man. That's cool.
For sure. Well, Mary, I heard you brought some superlatives for our show tonight. So we're going
Yes.
to give you the honors to get us started with your superlatives.
Yeah.
What do you
So my
have?
first superlative is Rashawn Gary coming back. Better than ever.
Mhm.
Hopefully better than ever. I heard he did really good today in practice. So I hope that continues.
Yeah, I was watching, all the tweets that like especially like Andy Herman does throughout the day, and it sounds like Rashawn Gary looked amazing out there. So very encouraging.
Yeah. Shall we hope? Can we hope? Will we hope?
Yeah.
I
Dare we
I
hope?
dare
That's
hope.
the word. There it is. I knew there was a word in there somewhere. I'm so out of it today. Okay, well, it's Katie's fault. Katie Sutterman, if you're listening, it's your fault. She got me up too early. Anyway.
Oh no. Oh goodness.
Okay,
All right, so Mary,
superlative.
go ahead, Don. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask her for a second superlative.
All
What
right,
is wrong with us tonight?
I don't know.
I don't know. My second one for the in-between, it would be the Seahawks are returning to Lambeau Field, poised for their most spectacular performance yet. They're undefeated. So hopefully we can change that tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at betting bets already, and Packers are not favored for tomorrow's game.
Really?
It's Seahawks are favored, yeah.
Why?
Because Seahawks are undefeated.
Well,
So-
yeah, we got to end that. You're right.
Exactly.
For sure. We will. I'm convinced. Are we going to Washington? It's at Washington, right? It's at Seattle?
No, it's
No.
at home.
It's at home.
It's at
Is it?
Lambeau.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. More the reason we'll win.
That's
Very
right.
good.
Exactly.
Very good.
Joe Love's gonna deal the ball. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
All right.
And of course, we have with the Solus Fanunga, it doesn't matter. We just as long as we see people doing good work. Last week's game, we had a lot of players looking amazing. The score didn't end our way, and it's cool because it doesn't matter for anything. So yeah, absolutely. But
Doesn't
still,
matter. Yeah.
it's always good to see the Seahawks be beaten. So
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that was scary. We didn't talk about that, did that? The way the game ended last week, but
yeah, no, that was scary. But
Man.
fortunately, dude's all right and everything like that.
It's okay.
But it was a scary bit there. Yeah.
better. I'm glad they did. I mean, I figured they were going to end the game, but I'm glad they did it quickly. I think they learned from that when Jamar was hurt to drag it on like that. It's like, come on, we're not having a game.
Right.
They would have had a protest.
Right.
Yeah, I think I would have protested.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
From my
other fans
meeting.
would have too. Yeah.
All right, Marcy, do you have another one?
Yeah, I might have said one. It's Sterling Sharp not making Hall of Fame again
Yeah.
from the injuries. He didn't make it.
He didn't make it again.
No.
Yeah.
I
he
saw
wasn't.
Aaron Degler tweet about it, and I'm like, what's going on about this? He should have made it a long time ago.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. I'm hoping that like next year, because I mean a lot of people are saying he didn't make it this year, but that means all the more he's likely to make it next year. It's kind of how I went with with Leroy Butler, for example.
Right.
But yeah, I really hope he deserves it. He was so dominant.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
Mary, and
Good ones. Yeah.
very solid superlatives.
Mhm.
Any bonuses before we turn it over to Maddie?
That's it. That's all I had.
Excellent.
Besides,
All right,
beat the
Maddie.
Seahawks tomorrow.
Let's beat the Seahawks.
Even though it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
out of
so
principle.
all right. Well, I have 3, and appropriately, we have such a fervent member of the Grassi posse here for my first one, which is going to be, of course, I think y'all see it coming. Best interview. This is Tom Grassi, one-on-one with Packers president Mark Murphy. A good half hour of really good questions, really good conversation. I like that it wasn't just like, it would be tempting in talking to Mark Murphy to just be like, all like smiles and sunshine and not trying to like, ask anything, controversial. It'd be easy to do that because you're like, I'm really happy this guy's even talking to me. This is really like a huge honor.
Right.
And so I thought Tom brought some really good questions. Like he talked about like the social media, for example, like, why doesn't the team do more with social media like other teams do? And some of the answers he got, I felt like were like, well, but the fact that like Tom's trying to engage with this kind of stuff was good. Mark Murphy, I think, is so fascinating though because he's he's kind of a loose cannon. He'll kind of say some stuff, and you're like, I can't believe he just said that. There wasn't too much of that in the interview, but it's still a really fascinating listen. So, Mary, I bet you probably already listened to that, right?
I listened to it right away because my friend, I know draft is coming in 2025. And like Lauren, I have never been to Lambeau myself. So I'm hoping 2025 is the year.
Yep.
For
awesome.
draft. And I know Tom's going to be there already. So it's perfect.
So, I was going to say, Mary, what did you think of the interview?
I think it was a good interview in the end. I like how he brought up the social media issue. And I like that Mark Murphy is getting the draft before he gets kicked out of the office. Because I know that was his one dream, and he finally got his dream. Yeah. Is what I'm glad about.
And that's a good point because like the way how Mark Murphy had a chance to talk about it with Tom, though he was able to like express himself about it, was like it was cool because like he's worked hard for it, and he said teams of people working on it, so he seemed genuinely like almost giddy about it. It was neat. It was a good moment.
Yeah.
Nice. Don, did you see it too, or?
I have it on my playlist, and I savor that every year.
Yeah.
But I've been having some thoughts about Mark Murphy lately.
Yeah,
so
there's a thing or two.
That's
true.
the only thing I was like, I got to get myself mentally. Not that it's a big deal to watch a half-hour interview, but it's just saying, Right. And I don't know. I'm not going to bring it up here. So at least at this point.
Go real negative faster for you. So anyhow,
we don't need that.
So my second one is.
Wait, when you said before you get kicked out of the office, I was like,
we mean because of the rules about.
I know something else.
Something else entirely.
Anyway.
All right, so I'll go to my second one then. My second one is best podcast that no one's talking about. I don't understand this. Okay, so I only recently found out about it, even though it's in their 14th season. This is the Cheesehead. Yeah. What? This is the Cheesehead Radio podcast. Okay. This is the podcast that Jersey Al does still. Obviously we've talked about Jersey Al a ton on this show. So many episodes. Every time we have a guest, who does content, they're almost always like, and it traces back to Jersey Al somehow inevitably. So first of all, the fact there's a podcast that I haven't been listening to, until recently is like, that's just a mistake on my part. But the fact is, like, I don't see people talking about this, and it's crazy because it's a really good podcast. Like I said, it's in the 14th season, and it's called Cheesehead Radio. It's him, Jersey Al. It's what's his name, CD Angeli, known as CD Tundervision on Twitter, and Kelly Hodgson, known as That Packer Girl on Twitter. All really good follows. People have been I only recently started following the last one, That Packer Girl, but had been following the other two guys, of course, for a long time. So their podcast is a lot of fun. They break it up into like 4 quarters. So like each chunk of it, and it's like a 30 to 40 minute podcast. So like a really like easy listen. But each quarter is like a different thing they'll focus on. And the last part, especially the episodes I've heard so far, they do a Packers bingo segment where they'll take like a 5-letter Packer word and have a bunch of like trivia questions around the letters. Like each answer is going to start with one of the letters. This is being, I can say this more clearly. Let me say it this way. Today on the podcast, the word was Jair, right? So
Okay.
every answer in the first round started with either a J, an A, an I, an R, or an E. So it's like a kind of a to help the people who are playing along.
Oh, okay.
You
That
know.
makes more sense.
Yeah, so it's like it's gonna be one of those letters. And there's like 3 rounds. In the first round, the questions are impossible. Like what player from 1960 who was a linebacker for one season? You're like, no, nobody's gonna know this.
Right.
So the first round, like nobody gets it. Second round's like a little bit easier, and the third round's like the easier or the relatively easy round. And so it's gonna be CD is the one who's like reading the questions, and I think must come up with them. So it's basically like Jersey L and Kelly like battling it out to try to see the answer first. It's like rapid fire Jeopardy, basically.
Oh.
But it's so much fun because it's like, you know, they're hearing some of these like I actually know the answer to. Most of them I don't, because they're like a lot of really obscure questions. But you know, that's like a really fun part of the show. But my point is that like these guys have been doing this show forever. They have amazing rapport, chemistry. Like we always say, Don, really good podcasts are just like listening in on somebody's conversation. And this is just like a fun conversation. These guys who've been, you know, doing stuff together for a long time are having that we get to listen to every week. So you can find it on the Packers Talk like radio network. Basically, there's a lot of good podcasts that come through there. Actually, it's not the only one that I'd recommend, but it is a really good one. Again, it's the one on there that's called Cheesehead Radio. Check it out, folks. Talk about it. Let's you know, hype them up on Twitter a bit more because they're doing amazing work.
Support those folks. Yeah, I probably have heard it. I'm one of these people who go on. There's like 100 Packers podcasts, so I listen to obscure ones all the time. I don't even remember half of them by the end of the week, but that's really cool. I'm sure I've heard that one before because of Jersey Al, but I'm not familiar with that Packer girl. She sounds cool.
I'm
So,
familiar with her. That's one that actually gets mentioned a lot for the Thursday event, Sunday, whatever it is anymore for me.
Nice.
She gets mentioned a lot for me. Or from me.
Nice.
That's not a surprise. She seems really cool. Yeah. She's really funny on the show and absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool,
All right,
you
Maddie.
guys. All right. I have a third one, of course, then. And so, you know, the thing about the preseason, right, is we have, as we've talked about, Dawn, so many amazing people kind of all doing a lot of the same kind of thing, like reporting from training camp, and it's so vital and so important. But because of that, it's like, well, you know, we appreciate the work they're all doing, but who do you pick out for like, okay, and this week, you know, this amazing thing. So I'm just going I'm ignoring all of that this week. I'm going to say, I'm not going to talk about the amazing work all the beat writers are doing. And, you know, your Andy Hermans, your Paul Brettles, your Bill Hubers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Completely different, completely off track here. Okay. Even though we love that. Instead, what I'd rather do is take a moment of appreciation for Jimmy Christensen. So I first got to meet Jimmy through interacting with him because of Whiskoholics, which was the podcast that he used to have with Aaron Alice and Todd Varney. And then that eventually rebranded as On Brand and Off Topic. And I was a huge fan of that. Of course, that is a podcast that is no longer, sadly. But so I got to know Jimmy through that. And then also he was on Pack-A-Day for a long time. Then he was off for a little bit because he has kids. And then he's back on it again now. He's on the Sunday show, sometimes with Nick Schmitz, sometimes with Gage. They're not always available. So it's kind of like whoever happens to be ready to go. But things I love about Jimmy is that, look on the those original podcasts, the Whiskoholics and the On Brand Off Topic, is that kind of his role in the dynamic of the group was basically like Todd's punching bag, but he would always get back up and like still be just like the same cheery kind of silly guy.
Right.
But the thing is, in like seeing him in that sort of context, you think like maybe he's just kind of a silly guy, whatever. But then when he gets a chance to like unleash, you know, some football takes, it's like, whoa, he's really smart. Like, well, this dude's really, really bright. And he'll downplay, and he's very self-deprecating. So, like, you know, if he hears this, and Jimmy, I hope you get a chance to listen to this, man. He'll be like, no, like whatever. And like some of the best football takes I've heard, you know, through the years here have been from him. So, highly recommend, folks. Just, you know, interact with Jimmy Christensen a bit. Check out, you know, Lombardi's Bar, which he's one of the people on that. Incidentally, I just picked up the job of producer last night. Totally messed up the opening. It was bad, but it was my first time on the gig, so I just take it to you know, for first time you know, jitters or whatever. But no, just saying that you know, Jimmy's a great guy, really super smart, really funny, very kind person, and I just want to say, Jimmy, I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Jimmy, we all appreciate you. I love that. And so what do you do, Maddie, as the producer? What's your role? What are you doing?
Yeah, ideally, if I was doing things right, it'd be kind of like, like a lot of stuff that you do, like to start this show, hit the intro, hit the outro, but they do a lot of stuff like on screen as it goes. So it'll be like putting up the title for like which segment they're on. They have like the bar bets part, so it's like putting up how many. They're like they bet like the number of Bakhtiaris that something's going to happen. So it'll be like put up that graphic, so putting up graphics, putting up clips, bringing people in and out at the right time.
Okay.
I got some of that right last night, and a lot of it was too slow on stuff. And part of it, and I will say this might be a bad excuse, but like my computer was overheating, and it was not responding fast. So it was just like so frustrating. But that's just part of the reason why I'm going to upgrade my computer before next week.
Yeah,
I've been needing, this computer has been on its last legs for a while, but we're also we had already planned to get our Wi-Fi upgraded next week, so I'm very excited about that.
Woo!
Yeah, hopefully next Wednesday will go better. But since I'm mentioning it, Lombardi's Bar, catch them on the Game in Wisconsin channel on Wednesday nights. They're on at 8:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Lambeau time. So do check that out. It's a real fun show, guys. And just say hey to Jimmy. Get to know him better. He's a great dude.
Hey to Jimmy. And so for any of these shows, including ours, but one of the things I do with Lombardi's Bar is we click the bell so it reminds you when the show's on. So you might not be home, you're going to miss it anyway, right? But if you're tooling around on the internet or on YouTube, wandering aimlessly, like, whatever, or looking for something, you might get a notification. Oh, Lombardi's Bar is on. I would forget because there's so many shows I follow, but I really rely on those notifications to get me, don't. So at least I can show up for a little while. I mean, I might not be able to stay the whole time, but if I'm on YouTube and I get that ding ding, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to do it.
That's right. So our friend Pappy Schmears. Hey, good to see you, Pappy. It's been a couple of weeks since you've been here. Really glad you're here.
Where's Pappy? Oh my gosh.
Pappy's active in the chat right now and said, I never met Jimmy and I'm already loving him. Yes.
Oh, you would. He wears crop tops. He's awesome. You would love him. And Pappy says, Jimmy crack corn and he don't care. Oh my gosh. Pappy is always bringing it. Okay, so you want to hear mine? You want to hear mine?
I do, but real quick, can we also throw up this one other comment from Joe here? I'll just go ahead and read it. He's Joe's just asking a question. Joe says, has anyone checked out the new rebranded show Ohana Packers Edition with Mike Kawano and Iowa Joe? Oh, that's you, Joe. It's the best thing ever, and that guy Joe is amazing. So yeah, I remember I had mentioned, I think it was last week, that Joe was going to kind of rebrand the show because Nick Gregory wasn't going to be available anymore. So he is doing the show with Mike Kawano, who is definitely a really good dude, and so glad that that's getting off the ground for you, Joe. Can't wait to check it out. So quick plug for Joe there, and I relinquish the chair there. Go ahead, Dawn. What you got?
Mahalo, Joe. Okay. Whoops, I'm sorry. My thing just went bananas again. It's been doing this all day. Maybe I need I don't know what I need. Okay, I'm going to start out on a real positive note. Most infuriating. This is a little true crime-ish. It's law. It's legal stuff. Okay. Sean and Lee and Tui. What in the actual world? Are you with me so far? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't, but I'm curious to hear about it. You guys have weird stories from this stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so most infuriating. What in the actual world? Okay, Michael Orr. You familiar with Michael Orr? Have you heard any of this, Maddie? Okay, anytime you want to jump in. Okay.
This is all fresh for me. So.
Former Ravens first round draft pick Michael Orr was in Baltimore Monday for the signing of his new book, When Your Back's Against the Wall, Fame, Football, and Lessons Learned Through a Life of Adversity. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm quoting from Baltimore newspaper here, the Baltimore News. Michael Orr had just quite the life. He lived on the streets. His mother, without a mother, he finally... it's just like, I'm not going to tell his whole story. You really probably should buy his book. But Michael Orr was the one featured in the movie Blindsided, which was.
Yeah.
Did you see that movie? I don't
No,
know
but
that I
now,
did.
now I have the context for what we're talking about. So
Okay.
keep going.
All right. And he didn't love that movie, evidently, because it really didn't represent reality. And bottom line is, just from a legal standpoint, Michael Orr is now, and this is civil court, this isn't criminal court, but Michael Orr is now petitioning his the Tuohys, who are very mega wealthy people and always were, at least I shouldn't say always, but at least as long as he was in their life, which is what matters in terms of context of this crime. It's not a crime, but it's not legal what they did. Right. So they went around claiming to everybody they were such great people, and they adopted this kid because he was homeless and he was very talented and hardworking, but it was because of his own wherewithal that he did these things. But sure, so they took him in, and he thought they adopted him. They introduced him as their adopted son and all of this. But what they really did was had him sign a conservatorship and sign away all of his financial rights to that film. And that film made $300 million.
Oh my goodness.
Right. And they gave money to their natural born children and to themselves and left him out in the cold. And evidently this conservatorship was written explicitly for the purpose of this film. And so I don't believe that I don't know for sure, but I don't believe they took advantage of him financially for any other like the book that he's writing or anything like that. But it's in the news right now because he's gone ahead now and written to the court. And, there's a legal briefing that, this needs to be nullified. But the thing is, they could have adopted him. They never adopted him. They could have adopted him. This is so blatantly wrong on so many levels. So that I started looking at it, and I looked at the briefing, and I listened to some lawyers who were talking about it online, and it is really ugly. And these people, like, they didn't need the money, and they went around saying they adopted this. So they're like, we're such great people. So now they can't show their face, and they shouldn't be able to. And I don't think he's suing from any of the proceeds or anything.
Not that I've read.
Yeah, he could. What did you say, Mary?
I said not that I've read so far, or not that I've heard.
Yeah. He just wants it gone to make us as a matter of principle, from what I can tell. But I mean, I feel like they should give him the money. They really should. If they were decent people, which obviously they aren't, they wouldn't have done this. Give that money back, or give it to a charity, or do something for him. Yeah. Anyway. Super upsetting. Makes my blood boil. Yeah. So Iowa Joe, Pappy Schmear says, Mary hasn't seen one penny from this film. I'm upset. It was a scam from day one, Donnie. Yeah. Pappy knows. So sorry. My first superlative was, but moving on to something super more positive. My next two superlatives. Two more. I get two more, right?
Yep.
Best young buck pranceroo prancercizer goes to Jordan Love. Giddy up.
Pranceroo prancercizer? Don, what are you...
Have you not seen when Jordan Love is happy how he prances around? Yeah. See, Mary knows. It is so cute. I love it so much.
My favorite is Jair.
But Jordan, it's like he's this really cool guy, which he is. He's so cool. Right. And it's like, you can just tell he's this, and then he prances like a little beautiful show horse. It's just gorgeous. And it's just so cute. I just love it. Yes.
Pranceroo prancercizer.
Best young buck pranceroo prancercizer. Giddy up.
Giddy up. I love it.
I get so much pleasure of seeing him happy. So yeah. So more loving. My final superlative, more loving. I probably should have done that one. More loving and then best, but whatever.
Whatever.
Okay, so I recently realized that many fans don't know about Love's father and how much influence he had on Jordan. I think we talked about it really briefly once, Matt, didn't we?
Really briefly, yeah, because I still don't know a lot about this.
Okay, good. Well, that's what I'm here for. So, how much influence he had on Jordan, including his California cool temperament. So, on the eve of his first season, I thought it would be nice enrichment for our fellow fans to get to know our quarterback on a more personal level. So, some of this is a little sad, but it's actually interesting. And I was also interested in this because I feel like Jordan Love and Aaron Jones have this really strong bond. Aaron Jones really took him under his wing. He practiced with them in California all season, all summer. And I feel like they have a special bond because Aaron Jones lost his dad, was so close to him, so close to his entire family. They come from a very nice family. Aaron Jones' family was in the service, but in Jordan Love's family, his mom and dad were both police officers, so they were in service as well. So I feel like they had all that commonality. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems like that might be why they bonded in that way. So before his suicide in 2013, Orban Love had a clear vision for his son's future, and Jordan Love is fulfilling it. And this is from an article on the NFL.com in 2020 before he was drafted. It is a very long article, surprisingly long article, and with a great picture of Jordan Love. I wish, I could show it here, but we wouldn't see it on the podcast. The name of the article is called "In the Name of Love." And so what I just read there was the subtitle, and it was by Chase Goodbread. And again, that was February in 2020, February 10th, 2020, before he was drafted. So the picture of Jordan is with his Utah State number 10 jersey on, and you can see his father in the background. It's just really beautiful. I got a lot of information from that article, and that will be linked in. But basically, what I want to tell you, because we only have a short while, Jordan was born in Bakersfield, California. His father, Orban Jr., died when Love was only 14 years old. His father and mother were both police officers. Love attended Liberty High School in Bakersfield, and after being told he could not play quarterback as a freshman in high school, he was then named as the starter by his senior year.
Oh, wow.
He was only 5'6" and 130 pounds as a freshman in high school. So he really sprouted out.
Yeah.
So the next bit of information I'm going to take is from Orban's obituary. So again, he was born the same year as me, 1961, and he died in 2013. And this is interesting. So Orban was survived by many people, including, of course, his wife, Anna, Jordan's mom, 4 children. So these are Jordan's siblings, Cammie, Emily, Jordan, and Alexis. So Alexis is a year younger than Jordan. And so Cammie and Emily are older than him by 7 and 11 years.
Oh.
And the way, and this is important, the way that Anna wanted this written in the obituary, and this is in the article as well. That's why I'm bringing this up. It's important to the family. She says his life was taken suddenly by a medical demon. And so what happened, and this is important to Jordan too, from what he said, and what he was quoted as saying in this previous article that I mentioned. His father, Orban, had a blood pressure issue and had a reaction to his medication. And he had a bad reaction like a year prior to one medication. So he tried another one. And it had a horrible effect on him. And he took his life during that time. He went into an episode, and they were concerned about him. Anna had locked up his lockbox with with a service pistol, because he had a pistol because he was an officer. And unfortunately, he got to it. He had another key. So I wanted also to read that he will be remembered for his endless devotion to God. He was a congregation member, a Sunday school teacher, and a youth pastor for Fellowship Baptist Church, and 27 years of service to the community as an officer, detective, and sergeant for the Bakersfield Police Department. So he had an incredibly successful life. There's a really cool anecdote also in that NFL article that I mentioned where Jordan wanted pancakes for breakfast one Saturday or Sunday. And he was extremely close to his father. His father had this vision of him being a football player, all this stuff. And his father was extremely cool. He had that cool temperament that Jordan has. And I guess it's just like him. And if you see a picture of him, you can really see the resemblance. It's great. And so Dad had this regular Sunday morning, like weightlifting type workout that they had to do with all of his buddies at the police department, because they believed in staying fit, unlike some officers. So they pull in Jordan tow. Dad's like, I don't know, let's see, probably 50 at that time-ish. Dad says, hey, I got my kid with, and he wants pancakes. I've got Jordan with, he wants pancakes. So can I slide in and do my reps? And he starts pumping 300-pound bench lifts right in front of Jordan. He's like, I still can't do that. He was like 50 years old. And so Jordan was so impressed by his dad, loved him so much. And then they went out for pancakes, and that was a thing for them. And his dad always went to his practices. And of course, that one day he didn't go, and that was it. So it really had just quite a dramatic effect on Jordan. And so I like to talk about players, whether it's from our team or other teams, because when we're out there, ripping on people and whatnot, we need to remember people are humans, and we need to be careful about what we say online, because you just never know. I mean, obviously this was a fluke with his medicine and all that. And I'm not saying Jordan, but I'm sure he can take it. He's a cool dude. But for anybody, we don't know what anyone else is going through or what path they've been on. So let's be kind to each other, and let's try to get to know each other's background a little bit more too. And so with that, that's what I have.
I love that. Yes, that is so true. Be kind. You don't know what people are going through.
Or you don't know what they see too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Clayton agrees. Says in the chat, very well said, Dawn. Indeed.
Thank you, Clayton.
And, real quick note too here. Pappy guessed it. I do love buttermilk pancakes, and Pappy himself every Sunday likes to lift bacon, French toast, and strawberries. There you go. All right. Breakfast champions, Paps. That's right. Absolutely.
There you go.
Dawn, I like the range of your superlatives this week. It was like an emotional roller coaster that you took us on. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
it kind of was. And I just, I'm always I think true crime has really helped me appreciate that so many people have so many big stories, and they're still walking around like you're not going to know their story unless they tell you. I mean, you're not going to know most people what they've been through. I just had this conversation with some folks this week. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, it's quite interesting. So Mary, any final thoughts before we do our good nights?
One thing I was going to mention when you mentioned if we had any more podcasts, I think it's Clubhouse Live. They do a phenomenal job. They do it every Mondays, I think, on YouTube and Facebook. I can send you guys the link. They're fantastic. They try to have players, and it's Keyshawn Nixon and Josiah DeGora this year. They alternate every Monday, and they basically talk about the game and stuff. It's fun. And they're starting it the 4th with a surprise guest. We don't know who the surprise guest is. Ooh. It's usually former players.
Nice. And what's the name of it again?
Clubhouse Live.
Oh, Clubhouse Live. Yeah.
Yes. They're starting up again.
I admit I've never checked it out, but I've heard so much about it. Maybe this is the season. This is the season where I gotta check it out. So Appreciate
oddly
it's a
enough-
little push, Mary. I love that.
So oddly enough, one of them is a Bears fan. So week 1 is against the Bears. So, and they usually do punishments for the Bears game.
Oh, nice.
Like one time he had to wear an Aaron Rodgers jersey, for instance. And
Mhm.
it's just really fun.
Aw,
I like it. I'll be checking that out for sure.
It's really
I love it. That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, Mary, we're so glad you joined us this week. It's so nice to get to know you a little bit better. And keep us posted on your journey now that you've finished college. Want to hear
Yeah.
all about it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And again, kudos to you for entering the medical field. I have a lot of interface with medical world, all of it. So I appreciate when we have good personnel. Yeah, I love it. It's not easy work.
No. Yeah, Mary, this has been really great getting to know you. I guess I want to say you're delightful. This was really a lot of fun. And yeah, Dawn, any last thoughts before I bring it home here?
Let's bring her home, Maddie.
All right, folks. So make sure that you are following Mary on Twitter. Again, her handle is Mary20S23. So Mary20S23. Check her out there for sure for some nice positivity and delightfulness. And let's see, next week. Oh, Dawn, next week. Johnny Barks, right?
Johnny Barks.
I think
Really?
he's next up. Yeah, I think he's next up on the calendar.
Yay!
I'm pretty sure I'm reading correctly. So that'll be exciting. Folks, tune in next week to check out our interview, our discussion, our conversation with Johnny Barks. That should be a good one. And friends, of course, you'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned. So please check it out. Also, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. Subscriber or football fan, any of these things. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. And as Mary knows, that includes yourself. We are all about it. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, please subscribe to our podcast. You help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right. Because we love you. We're so glad to know you, be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.